Hello friends, it's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums, and today I have another tarot spread video. This is going to be a longer one. It is a 7-card spread, and this is going to be the In A Rut Spread, which is meant to kind of help you get a little bit of clarity, maybe even give you an opportunity to kind of move out of certain issues that maybe have you a little bit like confused, especially if you're like at a little bit of a crossroads or feeling a little bit confused about what to do next or what you should kind of focus on next. I think this is a great spread. I also really enjoy using the Clarity Tarot spread, which I've also posted in my playlist. So if that's something that you're looking more for, that can kind of give you a little bit more of a defined focus when it comes to gaining clarity, that's a good one. But this is nice, especially if you're like, again, kind of at a crossroads and trying to get a little bit of direction as to what you should do next. So I will be using the Learning Tarot cards. These are great for those of you that are maybe still pretty new and maybe don't feel 100% comfortable trying to memorize all of the card meanings and such. So let's talk about the spread, and then I will do a sample reading. And I hope that this is a spread that you enjoy and will add into your spread collection, I guess. I'm gonna have to start going around and finding more, because I think this is kind of like the last one of the tarot spreads that I have that I would want to share here. Of course, these always want to start flipping around, so let's shuffle them a little bit more. So let's start with card number 1. This is going to be the Rut. So here we have the Queen of Pentacles reversed. And then we have card number 2, the Cause of the Rut. And here we have Strength. And then we have card number 3, which is Where You'd Rather Be. So here we have Justice. Right, it's going to be here. This one's going to be a little bit, it's going to be all over the place. I'm going to try my best to like make everything fit. So card number 4 is What Needs to Change. We have the 3 of Wands reversed. And then we have card number 5 is How to Make the Change. So here we have the 8 of Wands reversed. And then card number 6 is the Assistance or Strength to Draw From. So here we have the Ace of Cups, if y'all can even see it. These cards are a little big. I may have to like readjust the camera in a minute. And then card number 7 is going to be the End Result. So here we have the 8 of Cups. My goodness. Okay, I didn't really have a focus, so we'll see how this reads. All right, let's kind of get into the actual sample reading of how I would read this spread for myself. Again, I don't really have anything going on at the current moment where I'm like in a rut, if that makes sense. So we'll kind of see if this is relevant to what I feel is kind of going on in my life currently. So card number 1 is going to be the Queen of Pentacles reversed. Actually, hold on, before we get into that, this is where we can check and make sure. Okay, now we can kind of get into the sample reading. So this is going to be card number 1. This is the Rut, and this is going to be the Queen of Pentacles reversed. So typically this is a card of like abundance, nurturing, kind of like very much this beautiful feminine energy in the suit of earth. And so it can be behaviors, it can be our physical bodies, our finances, our home, our space, like our physical health in a lot of ways too. So the Queen of Pentacles to me is like the culmination of this like feminine energy of nurturing our spaces, having a place that is, you know, very fertile, very receptive and open to what it is that we really desire and need, and how we are co-creating that in a physical existence. So this being reversed and it being the rut is insecurity, instability, fear, someone who's lazy, suspicious, lacks motivation, feels insecure, and neglects her responsibilities. I think this is interesting because I really wouldn't translate it like in this manner for myself specifically. And maybe my rut has something to do with like my physical health. I kind of have felt a little bit like I'm not able to really enjoy a lot of things just due to different physical like health stuff, medical things that have come up in like the last like year or so that have been slowly progressing into the territory of being very challenging. So even just like recently where I have felt very frustrated with just how I feel about my body and my health overall. I'm trying to kind of be very aware of like what that's doing for me as an individual. And so maybe my rut is that I just kind of feel like I can't really enjoy myself completely. We're also, you know, kind of exploring some options for where we will live next. And so there's a little bit of that and trying to kind of figure out like, you know, what do we want to do? But everything is crazy in this economy. And so it makes it very challenging to, you know, want to take that next step. For a variety of reasons. And so I'm trying to be very mindful of these things, but then also having this realization of like, nothing is really ours, if that makes sense. So I can see where this would be, why this would be like the rut for me, if that makes sense. But it wouldn't be like the traditional meanings on the Queen of Pentacles reversed. And so this is why I love tarot, because as much as there may be like these, predetermined meanings and translations of what these cards can possibly mean, by being able to utilize your own personal situation, your own understanding of, you know, what you're asking after will really allow you to look at things much more clearly, will allow you to really see why you're getting certain cards in a particular spread or for a particular question. So while I didn't have a specific question, I guess we're going to talk about my health and some of these medical things that are kind of happening for me presently on. And so I guess the universe is like, oh, you wanted to do a sample reading? Here we go. So for card number 2 is the cause of the rut. And here we have strength. So this is all about inner strength, courage, bravery, confidence, compassion, taming, control, overcoming self-doubt, focus, persuasion, influence, taming the beast within, harnessing instinctive desires, proper channeling of libido. And I like that these cards for the majors have a little bit of like this like affirmation, so to speak, where strength begins with the choice to be kind to myself. And so the cause of the rut is that maybe I have just been pushing too far for too long. And I feel like that may also be the issue as far as like, I haven't really taken my health as seriously, if that makes sense. I mean, I've had a lot of different things happen the last several years that have made me have to be more aware of like what I'm doing. But I know I don't have a problem restricting, if that makes sense. But I do know that sometimes I tend to over push with like how much work I take on, how much stress I take on. And I haven't really been keeping those things in balance. So maybe this is kind of saying like the cause of the rut or the cause of the issues is that I'm constantly pushing through. And that is something I have really done. And now that I have a much more physically demanding job that I'm doing, and because all of the responsibility really falls on my shoulders, I definitely do keep going, even though I know that it's not always to my benefit. And I keep adding things into my schedule because I'm a goof, and now I'm at this point where I'm like, maybe I need to kind of cut back in some way. And that's also a hard choice to make because I have financial goals I'm trying to meet. And so sometimes having like that extra is also very helpful. Again, that Queen of Pentacles, right? Reverse. It's like I'm too focused on the material, and like I don't like the fact of like there may be this instability and things like that, because that's another thing that's playing into the situation with my health as well. So, and it's funny because it'll be during Leo season. So yeah, it'll be a little bit challenging. I mean, I'll be healing through Cancer and Leo season, and Jupiter has been transiting my 12th house recently, so that's been kind of, not to say like challenging, but I think it kind of has been highlighting a lot of these things that have been quite quote unquote kind of hidden, if that makes sense. But I've also had a lot of luck in being able to have the opportunity to have these procedures and necessary medical attention with little to no cost to me, if that makes sense. So I've just had a lot of stuff kind of coming up, and so I can see why the cause of the rut would be that I've just kept pushing and ignoring certain things or putting it off because I'm like, well, I'm feeling fine, it's not a big deal. And that's not always a good response when it comes to our physical health. All right, so card number 3, it's going to be where I'd rather be. And here we have Justice, which is all about, I get what I give, karmic justice, consequences, legal disputes, law, truth, honesty, integrity, cause and effect, life lessons, contracts, binding agreements, settlements, and apology, decisions needed to maintain justice, law, and order. So while yes, this card really truly focuses on like that meaning in the sense of, we're very focused on law and order and things like that. I think that this is more for me, like where I'd rather be is that I just want to be able to do something that I love and get paid for it, if that makes sense. Like I love doing this sort of work as well. And while this year has been better than previous years, it's not always something I have a lot of energy to focus on, especially because, again, we're all tired, right? We're all going through things. We're all experiencing a lot of shifts and changes, and it can just be very hard. And I'm in a place right now where I'm more dependent on my other job versus this kind of work. So I don't know, maybe that will shift gears. Because again, to me, this is also a reminder of balance, right? It is that opportunity to kind of like live in integrity and do things that really come from a place of like your personal truth. And so I kind of feel like that's the energy here for me, is that I want things to be very much in like balance, and I want to be able to do both of these two different businesses that I have simultaneously, while still having space for my relationships, for my children, for my family, for my home, for my pets. I want to be able to I know I can't give everyone 100%, but I really want to. And right now I kind of feel like I've been giving a lot more to one thing versus everything else. And it's, so I do want things to be a little bit more in balance, and I want to be able to get what I'm giving in the sense of, I want to continuously pour into places and things and relationships and connections with people that feel very fulfilling for me as a person. So card number 4 is going to be this one up here. So what needs to change? And here we have the 3 of Wands, which is all about foresight. It's travel, moving abroad, foreign land, foresight, forward planning, moving forward, self-confidence, self-belief, freedom, success, happy with choices, outcome, hard work, paying off, and experiencing life. So like I said earlier, I do have some financial goals I'm trying to kind of meet before I can kind of take so much time off to heal. So I've been like really trying to focus on like, what can I do to alleviate my financial burden at that time? Because again, I'm not going to have the income that I have worked very hard to get. And I don't expect people to just, I'm self-employed, right? So I don't expect people to like pay me for not working. I mean, that'd be nice, but that's not the world and my reality as I have experienced it. If you have, I love that for you. I'm not there yet. I want to be you when I grow up, basically. So I think that this is just kind of telling me like, And I'm kind of looking at that time as an opportunity to maybe take some trips and take some time off to go, you know, depending on how I feel. Obviously, like I think like the first month may be a little bit challenging for me to want to kind of get up and go, but who knows? Because I get bored real easy. So I may be very like, let's go here, let's go do this, let's go do that. And I may be a little bit more inclined to allow myself that ease that I don't typically do during, you know, my regular work life, because even though I'm trying to be more intentional this year of trying to take more time off and trying to take off holidays and stuff like that, which I haven't done previously, I am trying to be a little bit more of like, present as far as like what my needs are. So, and I think that this is more about like the planning, you know, the planning element of things, of just looking at what am I moving forward into, like what am I trying to do with all of this. And that is something that's also been very heavy on my mind the last few months, is like where is all of this leading? What am I doing with all of this? While having everything now is great, but I am now in my 40s, and I'm going to be real, I have no kind of backup plan. I don't. And that's not ever fun to have that realization. I think now that like I'm having these health issues and things like that, I've been kind of like, well, what's the backup plan? Like, what am I going to do? What is this going to look like? You know, because I don't think Social Security is going to be a thing when I get there. I don't think it's going to exist whenever I get to that age in like 24 years or whatever the new retirement age is. So I think it's going to be some time before I get an opportunity to have that also be like a backup plan for myself, if that makes sense. So things to think about. All right. So card number 5 is going to be how to make the change. And this is the 8 of Wands, and this is all about action. This is hastiness, speed, progress, movement, action, exciting times, travel, freedom, rushing, holiday, gaining momentum, taking off, ahead, you know, thinking on your feet, hard work paying off, results, solutions, energetic. I really like to look at the energy of the 8 of Wands as like your second wind. It's like that uprising and kind of going. It is an opportunity to kind of experience what you've been working towards and really seeing that kind of come together. So with this being how to make the change, is that it's almost saying like maybe I need to focus on the momentum and movement and what I'm doing to kind of get there and what I can do with what I have. And so that is another thing that I've been trying to kind of focus on, like how can I offer other things that are still under like the same umbrella that maybe won't require like the physical element of the work that I do. So I'm trying to just kind of be a little bit more mindful. I'm trying to look at, you know, what do I need to do for myself to kind of ensure that what I'm charging allows me to also pre-plan for the future, because that is something I am trying to be a little bit more aware of at this time. So card number 6 is the assistance or strength to draw from, and this is the Ace of Cups. This is new beginnings, outpouring, new relationships, new romance, love, happiness, joy, conception, fertility, pregnancy, celebration, socializing, an upsurge in new feelings. It's funny because I'm having my first procedure during Pisces season. I'm going to have my second procedure during Cancer season. And here we have, you know, the signs for Cancer and Pisces. Who knows if I will have to do something during Scorpio season, because that would be a few months post-op. So it's very interesting to me, and just kind of noticing these things. But to me, it will be something to celebrate. I am going to look at it as an opportunity for a new beginning for myself, because I really do hope that it is a new beginning where I start to really move on and find a little bit more health for myself in different ways, because I've really just not felt healthy for many years now, no matter what I've done. Moving on to the end result is moving on. The Eight of Cups, which is abandonment, abandoning plans, walking away, letting go, traveling, escapism, reaching limits, self-analysis, self-discovery, introspection, looking deeper, withdrawal, disappointment, and looking for the truth. Again, these are all things that I think I will definitely be looking at while I am at home, while I am in recovery. I do think that I will be heavily reconsidering some of the relationships I have around me. I will be looking at, you know, what kind of work I'm doing and why I'm doing it. That is something that's been kind of heavy on my noggin lately, is ensuring that I'm also working in a way that honors what I want and what I need, instead of being so focused on, let me just do everything and anything for anybody. I'm trying to be much more meticulous and particular about who I'm taking on, what spaces I'm in, what kind of energy I'm around, what kind of things I really want to spend a lot of my time on. So I've been kind of reconsidering, like, what does it look like for me moving forward? Do I want to continue doing this kind of work in this manner? Or do I want to kind of move into a different like style of doing what I'm doing, or maybe offer different things? And so I've been like really considering a lot of this stuff. And so I think I'm going to be definitely moving on from anything that just no longer feels like it's in alignment with who I am, what I want, and what speaks to me. So interesting reading, right? And it's interesting, even if you don't ever have like a very particular question, like the cards will really speak to you if you want them to. And whenever I do these like sample readings, I may not always have like a particular question in mind, because again, I'm just trying to do a quick sample reading for you guys so you can kind of see the spread in action and how I would read it. So I think it's interesting because I'm still getting a lot of clarity and definition over things that are kind of sitting around in my noggin and knocking around, and questions and ideas and thoughts that I have. So it is nice to get a little bit of clarity on some stuff and kind of know like I am headed in the right, you know, direction, even if it feels a little bit like chaos. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. If you have any questions or any suggestions, just reach out, leave me a comment. I really am grateful to be able to share a lot of these things that I love with you. So have a good one. Take care. Stay safe. And as always, make good choices. Bye.